I think we're getting ready to start. I think Kevin's about ready. This is the first time we've been able to have Kevin down, Kevin Rogers. Him and his dad fish together. They are probably the best jig fishing team out there, especially when you're looking at northern Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, around Millwood, Darnell. Man, these guys are hard to beat. I can tell you that some of their fishing aspects of the way they do things, you've heard different things today, and this is one of the best reasons why we have different people with different techniques, because another guy or 4 or 5 in here that's already told you, and which I've probably told you many a time, when you're not catching fish, what are you supposed to do? And slow down. Just opposite. We fish right next to them. I'll have fished 3 sets of trees or brush piles, and the 3 brush piles or trees that I fished, he has fished 15. It's almost like being back in some of the bass tournaments we used to fish. It's run and gun. He's already spotted out the types of trees that he's patterned those fish. He's looking for certain types of trees, and yes, he probably does have a lot of brush piles out, or fish attractors, or no hangs, or different things that he knows where big crappie hang out, and they're going to run and hit. The difference is, if they're not biting right then, it's not mean they're not there. He's not going to wait for them to start biting. He's going to go find another aggressive fish somewhere else, and he's going to come back to it. They literally have to burn $100 worth of gas in a day, because it's not putting. It is wide open from A to Z, and he might cross by me 36 times in one area. But we were fortunate to have him. He's definitely a guy that you can get a lot of good advice from. He's going to be around here all day today and tomorrow. He fishes with a lot of Bobby Garland stuff, and I have switched and fished a lot of it also. It's a good product, but definitely the techniques that he's going to tell you about, you need to kind of keep there, because they do work. And the only reason I can say they do work is because he's usually in the top 5 in every jigging tournament we fish in if he didn't win it already. Him and his dad are very aggressive. They're on top of stuff, and it is just it's phenomenal to watch them on the water. And I can tell you for sure, when they're there to fish, it's serious business. So I've got the door open for a little while. Like I said, when it gets too cool, ladies, don't hesitate to look over and tell them, because the guys got jackets on stuff, they can take them off. We want to keep y'all happy, and that's what we're here for. Keep everybody happy, and don't hesitate anybody else after. That's what these guys are here for, just like Wally said. So after his seminar, when he gets tied up and he's got some questions, don't hesitate to ask him anything. And he'll be out there after it's over with. If you want to look at baits, jig heads, the way he ties his line, all that stuff, we're just looking forward to having a good show. And give him a round of applause. He drove a long ways to come here and be with us. You know, a lot of these guys, they have other jobs. You know, they have to work. So we appreciate him taking his time out, spending it with us. I know it was a long drive, and this is the first time in the last, 4 or 5 years we've tried to have you that he's made it in his schedule where he could show up. So I thank Kevin, I thank y'all, and y'all enjoy the seminar.
Ladies and gentlemen, I met Kevin Rogers. Kevin fishes with his dad, Charlie. This is a phenomenal fishing team, as father-son, that I've ever seen in crappie fishing today, because these guys are relentless. They own Truman Lake, unless I show up. No, let me tell you what. Kevin Rogers knows more about vertical fishing on timber than anybody. They live it every day. These guys are, like I said, are the best out there. And Kevin, thank you very much for coming today. Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's just the real deal. So if you pay attention, you're going to feel them live wells up. Thank you, Kevin, buddy. Thank you.
Well, I'm done. That was it. That's all you need. I was going to start with this. I was going to say this is all you need to know about crappie fishing, but I won't. No, that's pretty good. That's a good introduction. Again, my name is Kevin Rogers. I'm from Mercury, Missouri. Odd name, I know. My home lake is Truman Lake, about 7 hours from here. Just a little bit. I've won 31 crappie tournaments in 20 years, I think. I can't keep up. With all that great stuff they said, what does that mean to you folks? That means absolutely nothing. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how we've done that. We've won a couple crappie masters trolling, and I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about what our so-called claim to fame is, and that's one pole jig fishing. You got the best trolling fishermen in the world here with Caps and Cole and all these folks, so I'm not even going to begin to tell you about that. I'm going to talk about one pole jig fishing. That's what we do, and something to keep in mind as we go through here. All the seminars we've had, most of these people, a lot of these people are guides. I am not a guide. I do not guide for a living. People do not pay me to go fishing. I am a tournament angler. I fish 19 to 25 crappie tournaments a year. So I'm not a guide. I don't make my living fishing. This is just my passion. I love tournament crappie fishing. I just love crappie fishing in general. I actually build hospitals for a living. That's what I do. But every waking second, I'm not building hospitals. It's about crappie fishing. So again, 20 years of tournament crappie fishing with my dad. And we're going to walk through a little bit how we do that, how we tournament fish, and everything that, like Wade said, everything you've heard up to this point, I'm going to say a little bit probably different than most crappie fishermen. I crappie fish a lot like a bass angler. So, and what that means is I constantly move. I just had an interview right before this. They said, give me one tip that any angler can take from you, what I do, and that is don't wait. Don't wait on the crappie. And that's kind of opposite of what everybody else has said. You have your honey hole, you have your favorite spot, you go there, and they're not biting, and you think your day's done. That doesn't mean anything. Move. You got a trolling motor, you got a big motor, move. They may be 10 feet this way, they may be half a mile down the road, you got to keep moving. That's my number. If you take anything out of this seminar, remember, you have a trolling motor and a big motor for a reason. That's to move around and find those fish. That's kind of how we made our living. You heard Wade say that we run around running gun. We were fishing for only the active crappie. What does that mean? Well, your favorite spot, your favorite hole, you've been there 50 times, the last 10 times you went to the lake and caught 50 here, you go there and there's nothing. Does that mean they're not there? No, they're there. They're probably just not biting. But, so you're going to sit there and wait on them for, 3 or 4 hours with 0 bites. Why not move, try another spot, boom, 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 and look for active fish. I don't want to catch fish that don't bite. Who wants to catch fish that don't bite? Not me. I want the fish that's biting. I want to try to make them bite. I'm not going to sit and wait it out, and that's kind of this presentation. And we'll talk about the techniques that we do that with. So I'm going to start off by talking about our gear and how we fish it and what we use, and we'll talk about a lot of different things as we go through here. The gear that I use is about the most simplistic gear you could possibly buy. I don't have, this season, there isn't $50 here. Okay, you can go out and buy $100 rods, you go out and buy $200 reels. I don't think you need it for what we're doing. What we're doing is we're talking about one pole vertical jigging, using one pole in fishing, the timber, the stump, the lay down, the brush, whatever you can see. That's our claim to fame. We're not spider rigging. We're actually holding this rod in our hand and fishing the visible timber. So basically, this right here is high-tech cane pole fishing, if you will. It's just a graphite, set it on a little cane, it's graphite. This is a 10-footer. I think I'm sponsored by the only rod company that's not out here on the rack, but it's a pro angler. It's a 10-foot rod. There's hundreds of them out here that do the exact same thing. The reason I use this rod, in 20 years I found it to be the most lightweight and most powerful rod there is. We'll talk about that weight here in a minute. The reel that we use is very simplistic. Couldn't be a more simplistic reel. This is who cares what brand it is? It doesn't even matter. There's hundreds of them out here. This is just a mini bait cast reel. These things cost $10. What this does is when I am jigging, I am not reeling. I'm not casting. I'm not doing that. This is it. This is on here to hold my line. That's all it's for. I use this. You can go out and buy 200 spinning reel if you do that. That's not how we're fishing. What we're doing is we are using this to hold the line only. It's very simple. It has one button. Line out, put it over, line back. No drag whatsoever. But that's it. It's just holding the line in place. What we do is we use this thing. We talked about the line before I get to there. This is 15-pound spider wire. I'm not sponsored by it. I don't pay any money. It's just what I use. It's white in color. This is the Invisibraid. It's what I use for all my fishing. I fish with my dad. He's 70 years old. You can see this white line. It's braid. We'll talk about the braid later as we go into the seminar on why I use it. I got a little neat story I'll even tell you about the braid. That's what I use. This is how we fish. So with this reel, and people don't understand, they think they gotta have a spinning reel to crappie fish. This reel is just holding the line, and we are fishing that visible timber. So you go to a lake and there's trees standing up everywhere. Crappie love trees. They live in them year round, they stay there. This is the best way to go fish. And this guy right here, typical starting point on any lake that I've ever fished, I start right there. I put that jig right next to that reel. That is 9 foot down. I catch 95% of my crappie right there year round. That's amazing. 95% of my crappie are caught right there at that reel. Why? I don't know. That's where they live. So once you find that depth, that doesn't matter if I'm in 10 foot of water or 20 foot of water. Them fish are living 9 foot down. That is a perfect depth for crappie year round. So we're not going up and down that tree. We pull up to that tree and we're just dropping that thing right next to it just like that. Drop it right next to that tree and we're just fishing. This line stays there. There's no drag. What we do, we get a bite, we just set the hook and we just bring it right in the boat. So that's why we use this cheap, inexpensive reel. And what I'm saying today works for me. It's not going to work for everybody here. A lot of people have to have a spin reel. What I want somebody to grab out of this seminar, and I have some pretty unique things that I do and we'll talk about, is pick up a tip or a technique. That's what these things are for. Not everything I say today is going to work for you. I fish a little bit unorthodox and was crappie fishing. But this is what we use. Very cheap, very inexpensive. $10, $10 reel. I mean, you couldn't get any cheaper. The only reason these things go bad is when you get hung up in a tree and you grab it and it rips the gears out, you throw it away, you put another $10 reel on. But this is how we fish. So, one thing that we do with this, I fish with my dad. When we're jigging, our presentation is we're in the front of the boat, we're both standing up, side by side, that's how we fish. We come to a piece of cover, I automatically take one side, he automatically takes the other. We just do it subconsciously and talk about it. There's no sense in me fishing his side of the tree. There's two sides of the tree. You automatically roll up, fish one side of the tree, he fishes the other. We always fish that tree a little bit different. We never fish identical. You have two of you, you're trying to catch a crappie. I will pitch it past the tree and let it fall back into the tree, and then I will hold it still. That's how we'll start the day. He'll do the same, and as soon as he comes to the tree, he'll pitch it past. He never lets it sit still. He automatically grabs this free line. I gotta put too much line out. Grabs this free line with his hand, and he always, every single time he drops his lure in the water, he raises it very softly like this up the side of that tree. Just like that. We're hand fishing. We're using this is our reel. That's why I use this is our rod and reel. This is the real part of our jig, is our fingers. You have complete feel over what that jig's doing at all times. The reason he is raising that lure up the side of that tree, crappie will never, ever, ever go down to hit that jig. So this is the piece of timber. And I said I start right here at 8, 9 foot every time I start fishing. If that crappie, there's 10 foot of water, here's the top. I start down here at 9 feet. If that crappie is right here, that fish will never, ever go down and hit that jig. So remember that. If you're on fire and you're catching them like crazy and you just stop, come up. Crappie do not go down. So what he does, if I'm down here fishing, he starts down here and he raises that lure up. Boom, and fish hit it. He's covering that whole water column. That's something a lot of anglers forget and just stop doing, is they just get set in one depth. Those fish quit biting and they're done for the rest of the day. Those fish are just, they come up, you're fishing below and you're done, you're not going to catch another fish. The only way you're going to catch them is dropping in, going past them, and coming above. So that's one tip that he does that a lot of anglers don't do. You can do that with the spinning reel. I mean, that takes a lot of coordination to raise that lure up. You can do it with the spinning reel, come up slowly. But remember, you got to be in that strike zone. That's what that's doing. Raising that lure up, that fish is sitting right here, puts it right in that fish's face, boom.